BlackWatch.
You have to understand specifically what you're dealing with. And without the specific understanding, there cannot be. This is just like in a war. Until you understand the exact nature of the war, what is the war fundamentally about, you can't really design strategies and tactics. And so we are not going to be able, this is why if we look back, things look worse today than they did 50 years ago. You see, because we're not dealing with an analysis. We're dealing with, telling people not to kill each other. We're not dealing because we're not allowed to talk specifically about racism, white supremacy. My purpose as a psychiatrist in talking about this and making an analysis of what we are specifically dealing with is like any other thing in medicine, that you don't just deal with the symptoms of a problem. You have to wonder, well, what is the disease base that the symptoms are a reflection of? And what we have is blocking a discussion, any in-depth discussion of racism, white supremacy. I mean, I'm the only psychiatrist in the United States that has been talking about racism, white supremacy for 40 plus years. I'm the only psychiatrist in the world that is talking about it. Do you see? Because it's like there's a block on, we are not going to talk about it. We can talk about the symptoms. We can have all kind of people come on TV and talk about the symptoms. But we are not going to talk about the problem of racism, white supremacy, because that's the behavior on the part of people who classify themselves as white. And so they have a wall of protection, a steel iron curtain around that specific discussion that gets into what is the white responsibility for the behavior activity that we see on the planet. But I say that those people who are sincerely interested in solving the problem, they have to go in depth to the analysis. And when the Attorney General said, are we a nation of cowards, being unable to talk about racism? And the answer to that has to be yes, we are a nation of cowards, but we can try to find the courage. If I could wave a magic wand, you said you would have many people who classify themselves as white having the courage to talk about it, as well as black people and other groups of pigmented people being able to talk about this. But there are consequences to be paid, do you see, for going into this no man's land, or where this is not supposed to be discussed. But we are not going to be healthy, functional people, mentally healthy people, until this can take place.
The late, great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I mean, that nugget, to me, kind of sums up why we are where we are politically. I mean, politically. It's why we are where we are systemically, and why it's difficult for us to move. Because we are not willing to talk about the detriment. I'm talking about as a collective, not individuals. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talked about it all her life, all her professional career, we know. And there's been many of people who have talked about it. But I'm talking about as a collective, we cannot get this right to where we know as a collective of people of African descent that we have been wronged, so wrong to where we're not going to be right unless we are repaired. And this isn't just a video about reparations, but it's always going to be about repair. And there's some people out here who don't believe that we need to be repaired. And they look just like me and probably most of you I know that there's people that are not black that watch these videos. So I'm not going to say everybody. But the people who do watch these videos, they would have no problem with having this conversation. The ones who aren't black, because if they watch these and they subscribe, then that means they're allies. That means they know what the fuck is up. And they don't have a problem with it. They got a problem with their ancestors. Absolutely, they do. They talk about it. People that I've personally talked about, yeah, absolutely do have a problem with it. But where I try to get the focus is on us. If we can't talk amongst ourselves as a collective, there ain't no way we ever gonna be able to look white supremacy in its eyes and talk to it. We'll just continue to just grin and bear it. I hate that term, but I chose to use it right then because that's what it is. We just grinning and bearing it. We get into these discussions and we talk about all kinds of shit, but when it starts talking about white supremacy, nobody wants to talk about that. Hell, I done ran into people to be like, man, we just gotta stop all this black on black crime. Who the fuck do you think taught black people to be criminals on this soil? That's my answer to that. We weren't robbing each other when they came and stole us off of whatever fucking land they stole us off of. We were producers. They came for the productive people. They had already had their turn at the people who weren't productive, people who were already on this soil. They couldn't do the work. So if we weren't resourceful people, if we weren't productive people, they wouldn't have took us. If we couldn't stand out in the sun from sun up to sundown, they wouldn't have fucked with us. Now what I know, we ain't never been a dumb people. I mean, everybody has some dumb people in their faction, but we've always been producers. We've always been the ones to get shit popping when needed, at need, whatever. Creators, inventors. Y'all have heard me say this shit before, but at one time we were the only skilled tradesmen in this country. Now they don't even want to hire our skilled tradesmen. They go through school. They don't even want to hire our skilled tradesmen. But at one time, what's wrong with his knees, man? Who the fuck is he gonna chase? These police officers, I've been seeing more and more out of shape ass police officers. Like, who the fuck are you going to chase? Or are you going to chase anybody? Get the fuck out of my way, man. We drive by a cop, so everybody's scared now. He already stopped the motherfucker that was going fast. Can you just make the stoplight? Yeah, but these out of shape ass cops, these motherfuckers, that's why they fucking shoot you. That's why they tasing people, beating people. Because they can't get in no foot race with a motherfucker out there. His knees was locked together. And he was standing straight up. And he was top heavy and shit. Now, I'm a big motherfucker, but I'm kind of short. He was a tall motherfucker. They should make these motherfuckers go through physical examinations every year. Fuck, every 6 months. You out here like this, ain't no way you gonna run a criminal down. To solve your case, you pulling your damn gun out. Shit. And when you big like that, and somebody's fucking with you, you gonna get angry. So yeah, you gonna do some shit to them. You might just tase them. You mentally fucked up. You might just tase them. And don't make a motherfucker make you lose your breath. They getting shot. But yeah, man. Looking at white supremacy right in its eyes and talking about how to get rid of white supremacy is the only way we do this. We don't get police reform. We don't defund. We don't take aspirin for cancer. And that's what they always want us to do. And they've turned that into politicizing it to where that's what the politicians run on. We're going to do some police reform. We're going to do some prison reform. We're going to reform. Why don't you reform your thinking into understanding that that motherfucking shit don't work? It does not work at all. If it did work, we wouldn't have to hear about it every fucking election cycle. Because you would have reformed the police. You would have reformed the prisons. And there wouldn't be talk of defunding you because you don't utilize the resources properly. So none of that shit works. You unjustifiably shoot somebody and you have a badge on, your ass should go to prison. Because if you unjustifiably shoot somebody and you don't have a badge, your ass goes to prison. Why do you not go to prison just because you got a badge? What makes you special? And qualified immunity does not make you special. That just makes you privileged and not really qualified to do shit. So yeah, it's the BlackWatch, and it's Women's Month. So we're gonna keep kicking these, not specifically for the ladies, but there's a lot of women that you can talk about, and we're gonna talk about them. And we're going to talk about the things that they've done in this society, the power that they've brought to the table, because they're worthy and they're ours. And I'm a black man and I watch shit. I gotta watch my ass get out of here and get these fucking boxes out of the truck. Had a race soldier for a fucking FedEx guy today. I don't know if he was just stupid and a race soldier, or he was just stupid. Motherfucker knocks on the door. I'm looking for the packages. He's like, I got a pallet for you. I was like, a pallet? I knew I didn't order a fucking pallet worth of shit. The boxes I had were shrink wrapped to a pallet. So I was like, well, what you got? I knew what the fuck I ordered, so I knew it wasn't that big. But to be efficient, they put it all on a pallet, send it out. Whatever. He's like, yeah, it's about 75 pounds. I'm like, 75 pounds? I knew it wasn't 75 pounds. So, hey, man, let me put my shoes on and shit. I go out there and see it. I'm like, okay. He's like, what do you want? I was like, what do I want what? I don't want that pallet. And I had already lifted the tailgate on the truck. He's like, well, I can pull it all off. And I was like, well, wasn't that what you would do normally? I was like, what would happen if I wasn't here? If I wasn't at my house, what would have happened? He's like, well, I would have called my supervisor and we would have figured out. I was like, really? Are you serious? Because I just had some boxes just like this delivered a month ago, and they left them bitches on the porch. And he went through a whole bunch of shit that I really wasn't listening to because I was looking up the street. And then he said, fucking chip in my fucking window. He said, well, I can break it down. And I was like, well, I would suggest that. I was like, you can put it at the back of the truck, bro. And I just walked inside. A few minutes later, I came back out with my backpack and everything. So I figured shit would just be at the back of the truck. I'd throw it in the truck and I'd leave. He's standing there at the back of the truck. I'm like, you need a signature? He's like, yeah, we always need signatures. I was like, no, you don't. I just got stuff last month and they didn't get a signature. Oh, yeah, I always get signatures. Like, okay. He's like, what's your name? Kiefer Brotherland, motherfucker. Can you spell it? It's like, yeah. I meet retardation with retardation. I match energies. That's why a lot of motherfuckers don't like fucking with me, because I match your stupid ass energy, bitch. You gonna do dumb shit, I'm gonna do dumb shit. You gonna say dumb shit, I'm gonna say dumb shit. To an extent. Because after a while, I just get tired of you and cut you the fuck out and walk away. But I know goddamn well they don't get signatures because he ain't never got a signature from me. He ain't never got one from Ray. It wasn't like he was new. You could tell he'd been on the job for a minute. He just trying to be a bitch. Okay. I ain't gonna be a bitch. But I will match energies. One love.